In today's video, I have the absolute honor of fixing one of my biggest mistakes, and that was how I started the different legendary summoners. I should have started with the life summoner, but unfortunately I couldn't get a hold of Moriarty. Thanks to one of you, one of my wonderful subscribers, I was able to get in contact because they were in fact in the same guild as Moriarty95. They managed to put me in contact with them, and we are now able to build the video that we should have on Grandmaster Rathe. And let's get into it. So Moriarty95 began his Splinterlands journey in July of 2020. So he is a veteran, or he wasn't around in Alpha and Beta, but he was definitely out in the game when Untamed and during the Untamed sales, and also before Lands went live. He is part of the biggest German-speaking guild, which is Legendary Dragons, as well as many of its side and smaller wing guilds. And when I asked him how he got into and how he discovered Splinterlands, he got into cryptocurrencies during his university degree when he was doing an economic class, and he basically wanted a more practical example of how markets worked. So he started with a small play money, as he calls it, to experiment with. He managed to make a bit of money doing cryptocurrency trading. He at the time was already playing other trading card games like Magic the Gathering, but more importantly, he was playing a digital card game known as Hearthstone. Consistently, he would have to continuously buy the latest expansion in order to stay competitive, as well as the fact that the money that he was spending, he felt like it was wasted. Instead, what he did is he expanded on his cryptocurrency knowledge, looked on the blockchain, and managed to find two different projects that piqued his interest as they had what he wanted, which was full ownership of the assets, which was the blockchain side, as well as the fact that it was also trading cards and games. And he found Gods Unchained and Splinterlands. So he's tried them both, and as he says, the rest is history. When I asked him what league he's in, he responded with that he's a Champ League player, but unfortunately he doesn't have as much time as he would like to, so he mainly focuses on tournaments and the brawls, but he does hope to get back into Champions League again soon. When I asked him what he's most looking forward to in Splinterlands in the up and coming future, he says what he's really getting excited to look forward to is the different game modes. He would love to see some single player campaigns, dungeons, arenas, and he then also believes that land expansion and tower defense will provide that for the start. And now on to the Grandmaster and talking about Moriarty's process of building his card. Basically, when I asked him to briefly share his inspiration, he said that when he first started playing Splinterlands, that was when Untamed Edition was currently in the store. He invested in all the different types of assets of Splinterlands, from land to cards. As he progressed through the game and he learned about land and cards, he eventually learned about the more rare, unique promo cards, such as Archmage and Prince Julian. That's when he said things got a little bit more interesting. He learned about unique titles, and he basically found a player that sold 2 of these unique titles. He activated one of the unique titles, which is the title Grandmaster. And then later on, he learned that certain players are the creators behind certain cards. So for all of you guys that don't know, so Neil McSpadden created LIR Deep Swimmer. Zaku created Yoden Zaku. Chance the Guy created Chances the Great. Biz created obviously the Byzantine Kitty, etc. He says, however, unfortunately he was a little bit too late to the Untamed party, but he already had his idea for Wraith. When they announced the option for the Chaos Legion pre-sale, he knew that he definitely wanted to create his own character and he had to take the chance. So when speaking about the duration of how long it takes from a card from start to finish, he says it takes all in all about 7 to 8 months. What made you choose the name Grandmaster Rathe? This was one of my favorite responses to the question. I was not expecting it at all, but upon learning that his unique title in the game is the Grandmaster, he wanted to give a clue or a hint that he was the creator of the card, so he included the term Grandmaster in the name. And then instead of just using his name Moriarty, he included different Easter eggs into the game. So the first thing is he definitely wanted the character to be running a secret organization spread throughout the whole of Pretoria. Hence, I mean, it makes sense, his name is Moriarty. But instead of using the name Moriarty, he wanted to add a more of a fantasy tone to it. So he came up with the term Wraith. There's basically a movie in the 80s called Young Sherlock Holmes, where Moriarty is Sherlock Holmes's professor, and in the movie, Moriarty's professor's name is Professor Rathe. So, and obviously Moriarty is the secret leader of a cult. So it fit the character quite well. It has the Easter eggs. It also fits Splinterlands' lore really well. So he tied it all really well together and basically gave the community a wonderful gift. When I asked him about the artwork, I said, "Is that you in the robes?" And he says, "No, he does not resemble any. He has zero resemblance to the Grandmaster." When I spoke to Moriarty, he said that he dove super deep into the lore, as he initially was planning and he was initially hoping to get the Death Splinter for Wraith, but unfortunately, as he was last in line, he was left with life. But as he read more and more into the Chimera, as well as the mysterious illness, the burn, he was fascinated by it, and his main fascination was that the burn was referenced in every splinter, and interestingly enough, the symptoms was different for all the different races. So in theory, as Wraith basically uses the power of the burn, it would react differently on different races. That was his plan, that it would be an awesome ability to have a character that had different effects on different targets. But he also wanted to add in characters like his daughter, which is Mina, as well as the other part of the fact of the lost children and how the Chimera children were only meant to be assigned to couples. His goals was basically that he wanted to make sure that Wraith fit into the Splinterlands lore quite fluidly and easily, as well as provide as much depth and future possibilities for character development and growth, as well as just world building. So things like, where does Mina come from, any information about the other lost children, the different allies and enemies of Wraith, as well as the things like how he connected Wraith's story to Dr. Alistar, which is Dr. Bright, as well as things like his basic skills of hunt and foraging could be a reference in the up-and-coming land expansion. And he felt that he was very successful in his ability to open the doors for several new stories and characters. And more importantly, he was very surprised because after he submitted his lore suggestion, they basically used his text very close one-to-one. So when I asked him about how he chose the different abilities, he was merely allowed to provide suggestions. He told Matt that his overall goal for Wraith would be to finally give the life splinter some options against magic. So he definitely wanted to create an anti-magic build, as he felt that there was a lack of such a card. So his suggestions originally was speed plus phase. However, his suggestion and his response from Matt was armor plus void armor, which was then added with amplify. Moriarty originally said that he didn't think about amplify, but now that he's played with the card, it seems like it's a great fit. What was your initial plan for the card and how was it changed along the way? He says surprisingly the card turned out pretty much how he intended. This is obviously the lore, the name, the art, and even the abilities. But as he mentioned a bit earlier, he did and he was hoping to get the Death Splinter, but he quickly now realizes that the Life Splinter is much more fitting to his story, as he much rather prefers the idea of so much darkness hidden where there seems to be so much light. When I asked him that now that as the creator of the card and as the creator and owner of the Grandmaster, what are the cards that you play it with? What are your ideal combos? He says a taunt combo, so Shield Bearer plus Kinjo, in addition to lots of repairs and resurrect, so Adelaide, Darius's, and that is how he's won a whole bunch of games already. When I asked him what cards he least looks forward to playing, or seen. He says any card with Scatter and Scattershot. Looking back, would you want to change anything or would you do it all over again? He says overall he's more than happy with this card, as Grandmaster Rathe is a great and powerful summoner and he wouldn't want to change a thing. There is some small tweaks that he would like to do for the lore and the story, as he would want to say what's inside Mina's necklace, but these are just more small ideas, and all in all he's happy with the results. When I asked him if there's any shoutouts that he would love to give, the main one was to his team. So he would love to thank the Splinterlands team, as he's grateful to have the opportunity to write himself into the history of the game. He would also like to give a shout out to what he claims is the best guild in the game, the Legendary Dragons. He would love to give a shout out to Gavassal. I'm sorry if I pronounced your name wrong. I've got no idea how to pronounce a G and a V next to each other. But he basically says thank you for being so passionate when it comes to the lore. And Moriarty has offered a Grandmaster Rathe to you guys, the wonderful community that support my videos and basically keep me motivated to do this. So I'm going to post a question down below, and after maybe 7 days I will let him pick the winner. But I definitely think what I want to know is, go read the lore behind the Grandmaster Rathe. Tell me what MG stands for. There are 2 different meanings, so tell me the 2 different meanings down below, and then in a week's time I will kindly ask Moriarty to pick a winner, and you guys will have a chance to win your own legendary summoner. Catch you guys in the next video. Peace.